Hello and welcome to podcast.init, the podcast about Python and the people who make it great. I would like to thank everyone who supports us on Patreon. Your contributions help to make the show sustainable. When you're ready to launch your next project, you'll need somewhere to deploy it, so you should check out Linode at www.podcastinit.com/Linode and get a $20 credit to try out their fast and reliable Linux virtual servers for running your next app. Do you need to learn more about how to scale your apps or learn new techniques for building them? Pluralsight has the training and mentoring you need to level up your skills. Go to www.podcastinit.com/pluralsight to start your free trial today. You can visit the site to subscribe to the show, sign up for the newsletter, read the show notes, get in touch, and support the show. To help other people find the show, please leave a review on iTunes or Google Play Music, tell your friends and coworkers, and share it on social media. If you work with data for your job or want to learn more about how open source is powering the latest innovations in data science, then make your way to the Open Data Science Conference, happening in London in October and San Francisco in November. Follow the links in the show notes to register. Your host as usual is Tobias Macey, and today I'm interviewing Nicolas Marcq and Thibaud about Kalliope, a modular, always-on, voice-controlled personal assistant designed for home automation. So, Nicolas, could you start by introducing yourself?
Sure. So, I'm Nicolas Marcq, and I'm an IT engineer, and also a little bit a geek, and that's it.
And Thibaud, how about yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Thibaud. I'm also an IT engineer, mostly a software engineer. I'm used to develop in Java, but I know today we are talking about Python, but my expertise is more on Java. Yeah, I'm also a bit a geek. We are developing Kalliope since last year, so yeah.
And Nicolas, do you remember how you first got introduced to Python?
I was a trainee in an IT company during my studies, and I started working on a project with Django framework. And I remember the same year the first Raspberry Pi has been released, and so Python was mostly present for this device, so I started coding with Python.
And Thibaud, how about yourself?
To be honest, it was a long time ago I wanted to give it a try to Python, and I take the opportunity when we start playing around with Kalliope, and Nicolas started to introduce me to Python, and it was the best opportunity to give it a try, and so I did it.
So I gave a brief overview of what the Kalliope project is, but I'm wondering if you guys can give a bit more detailed description of the project and how it got started and what inspired you to start working on it.
Yes. So at the beginning we felt on an article on the internet that was talking about a little library called Snowboy. Snowboy is a small engine which is always listening for an word, and it runs a script when the word is recognized. So we directly thought about a Jarvis-like program. We started looking around for existing projects. We found some interesting things, but for all of them, it was not exactly what we had in mind. So we started coding our own project, and actually it was even not a real project at the beginning, but just a small Python script that answers you a sentence when you say something. And to answer what Kalliope is, it's a simple framework that can help you to build your own personal assistant, like Alexa or Google Home. And Thibaud, maybe you want to add something?
Oh, no, basically you did everything. You talk about everything. But yeah, at the beginning it was, as Nicolas said, really just a way to have fun, and we were joking about it at coffee time at work. And finally, step by step, it become more important, and some people get interested by the project, and a little community helped us also to test the project and to continue and give ideas. So we continue playing around with this, and finally we are here 1 year later.
And as you mentioned, Kalliope is operating in the similar space as the Amazon Alexa and Google Home, as well as some of the other open source projects such as Mycroft or Jasper. So I'm wondering if you can do a bit of comparison and describe why somebody might want to use Kalliope in place of any of those other projects.
Well, to be honest, I don't know well other projects, but from what we saw so far, Kalliope is more like a framework. Each user has to work a little bit before being able to use it. It's not really, everything is not done out of the box like Google Home or Alexa. But we ask the user to build this bot. In most cases, in other projects, we have seen also only English is supported, and your orders are hard-coded. So for one order, you can run only one action. And with Kalliope, you can select the sentence and of your choice, and you can attach one or more action to it. That's why we have created Kalliope, is to be free for this part.
Yeah, you said the most important, but the idea behind Kalliope is really to provide a framework, a core framework to handle many components, many different components, and we access all development around modularity. But I think we can talk a bit later about modularity because it is really the heart of Kalliope. The core of Kalliope is focused on modularity, and I think it's why in this way we are most different from other projects.
Yeah, one of the things that I was attracted to with Kalliope is the fact that it does have that modularity and the ability to plug together different inputs and outputs, which seemed a little bit more straightforward and easier to reason about than some of the other projects I've looked at.
Yeah, and it allows us to add some cool stuff, like we can handle multiple languages because of it. We can make sure that we use TTS or STT, which are cloud-free, which are self-hosted or not, or we can also add different neurons and etc. So yeah, the modularity is really what Kalliope is really good at, and the design we thought about the design earlier when we started the project, and I think now it's what people are coming and the community is giving interest to the project. It's because of this modularity.
And one of the other things that I thought was really interesting and noteworthy in the Kalliope project is the fact that, particularly given how it's a fairly new entry into the market, it also supports a number of different languages, whereas the majority of the other assistants, particularly the open source ones, focus entirely on supporting English language input and output. So I'm wondering, why was that an important feature from the outset, and what are some of the challenges and architecture that you've built around it that enabled you to provide that capability?
About the multilingual, yes, at the beginning we just wanted to have something where we are free to select what we say to robot and what the bot answer to us. And from that came the multilingual, but it was not our main target at the beginning, to be honest. It's just because we have selected this design, we support the language, but it was not the main idea at the beginning. But yes, in most cases, with other projects, you need to say a particular sentence that is hard-coded into the code, and the bot will answer another sentence hard-coded too. What we had in mind was something where Kalliope provides information through the module, and you can compose the answer with it, like you want. And so it's because of this design we are multi-language. So Kalliope, yes, today Kalliope supports multiple language. Actually, if the TTS engine or the STT engine is supported best by Kalliope, then your language is supported. So
yeah, you said everything, because of the design we can handle all languages that STT or TTS are providing. You can even imagine that asking question to Kalliope in English and she can answer in French, for example. So yeah, it's very flexible. Yeah, it can adapt to all users' need. So because the user has the opportunity to define orders, matching orders, and to define answers, it makes it very flexible. But the worst point is that the user has to spend a little bit of time to define all these orders and answers.
I think that is. So yes, to be honest, the fact was we haven't planned to be multilingual at the beginning. Just we wanted to be able to select sentence as an input and to select what Kalliope will answer to us. And so, because of this fact, we are multi-language.
And with any of the voice assistants, one of the major questions that always comes up is the idea of privacy, because of the fact that you have this device in your home that is potentially always listening. And so I'm just curious how Kalliope works to mitigate some of the issues and perceptions associated with having that device always listening, and to try and respect people's privacy, particularly given that it's an open source project.
Yeah, well, the privacy was the first feature asked by the community, and the magic word trigger called Snowboy, so the Snowboy engine was already offline. So we have just implemented some offline STT and TTS. So we have CMU thanks for the STT and Pico2Wave for the TTS. And a user can also implement their own engines as well and propose them to the community if they want.
Yeah, again, it's because of the design of Kalliope. If you want to use Google, if you want to use Bing, TTS or STT, you still can use it. Give a fuck to your privacy. But in your case, because of the design and the modularity, you can choose to use STT or TTS you want, and it makes it flexible and makes it private if you're self-hosted if you want. So it's not because of Kalliope, it's because of the design of Kalliope, which makes a big difference.
We provide by default when you install Kalliope, we provide some STT and TTS, so you can select one of them, and some of them are community based, so you have to install them before using it. But yes, in most cases, users use Google TTS, Google STT, for Kalliope by default.
And for people who are using the local TTS and STT engines, what are some of the trade-offs versus using the Google or Bing hosted ones?
I think if you use Kalliope in English, it's not a big deal to have offline STT or TTS because they are working very well. But it's not really the case if you work in French or German or something like that. So I just recommend to try. And if you really want to have something offline, yes, you have to use them. But it's not really good if you are not English.
And you've mentioned that the sort of core of Kalliope is very modular, which enables you to have that pluggability of the input and outputs, as well as the different capabilities and the triggered actions, which in the parlance that I saw in the documentation are neurons, which will form synapses, which I think is very clever. So I'm wondering if you can just describe a bit about how Kalliope is built in order to be able to facilitate that modularity, and what the plugin interfaces look like for somebody who wants to create additional extensions to work with Kalliope.
There is no interface in Python, so we just provide abstract classes, and you have to implement this class in your main class for a neuron. And so you have to respect the documentation, and you have to select method we provide. And so, yes, actually, with Python, we can load dynamically classes, and this is what we do with Kalliope. Just when we read the name of the neuron in the YAML description, we try to load the exact name as a module in Python. So we just provide a path, and from this path, we try to load the folder, and that's it. And everything works like that. So when you write STT or neuron or TTS or even a trigger, you just need to put it in the right folder, and Kalliope will try to load the module from this folder.
And for somebody who wants to get Kalliope installed to start using it, what does that process look like? Of course, recognizing that it's going to be a little different depending on the platform that you're deploying it to.
Yes. The main target for Kalliope is the Raspberry Pi, of course. So for this platform, it's easy to install. You just need to deploy the image like you do for other Raspberry Pi image. If you want to install it manually, we provide the documentation for Debian family platform, so Debian and Ubuntu, and it's not really hard. You just need to follow the doc exactly. That's it. And also after that, once Kalliope is installed, you can just follow the quick start documentation and download what we call starter kit with a simple configuration for English or French or Italian. And then you can start Kalliope from this folder, and you have a basic configuration, basic settings, and also a couple of synapses in the brain to just understand the concepts, how Kalliope works.
What have been some of the most difficult or challenging aspects of building Kalliope and the associated projects that go along with it, as well as trying to raise awareness in the community for gaining contributions?
Well, the most difficult part for us is to make Kalliope user-friendly. We know it's not the case actually, because we ask the user to configure it through a YAML configuration, through the YAML descriptor. So we don't have an interface like other projects. It's not like Alexa, you just have to download the plugin and then the new skill is ready. With Kalliope, it's not everything ready out of the box. You need to work a little bit. And this is the most important part for us. We will try to have something really user-friendly.
Yeah, but in the same time, it's not what the community asks for. It's not user-friendly, we know it, but we want to focus on the first time on maturity of the soft and also on the community needs. It was not the first request the community had. So basically we know we have to do it somehow, some way, but it's not a priority in the first place. We'll do it later and maybe adding an interface over Kalliope core to be able to control and to build all the settings parameters and all the brain with neurons and synapses, but it's not a priority, even if we know it will be a big challenge in the future.
And given the fact that it is so pluggable and there are a decent number of extensions that have been contributed back by the community as well as being built into the core of Kalliope, what are some of the most interesting or innovative uses of Kalliope that you're aware of?
Actually, we are not really close of the community about this part. We don't know much about how users are using Kalliope. In most of cases, we know that people use Kalliope like Google or Amazon Assistant. We have a page on the website to receive a project and brain example made by the community. So we are waiting for stuff from the community about that. And that's it. Yes, we don't know really, what kind of use.
Yeah, we have some users who made some, who contribute with making some neurons, so we can imagine that they are using them at home, like some Uber neurons or Google Maps neurons or things like that. So I guess they are using it at home. And once on the chat, someone said they are also using Kalliope to impress friends and girlfriends. So kind of fun.
Are there any sort of integrations or additional capabilities that you would like to be able to build into Kalliope but haven't been able to do so because of any sort of technical or just complexity reasons?
Not really. Actually, in the next release, we will integrate MQTT protocol, so Kalliope will be able to discuss with other IoT projects, but we haven't had technical problem so far. Maybe you have something in mind, Thibaud?
We lack of time. That's the most problem we have. We have a lot of ideas for the future, but at the moment we are mainly focused on making Kalliope more mature and implementing the community needs. We didn't face any big issue, or maybe no, we didn't face big issue, and we just need more time to to make all we want to do.
Yeah, more time to code.
So now that you've been working on the project for a while, are you still happy with the choice of Python as the language of implementation? And if you were to start it all over again today, do you think you'd make the same decision?
Yes, I think Python was a good choice. First, because I personally had some experiences before with Python because of a professional project. Secondly, because Python is now a mature language with a lot of libraries like speech recognition wrapper, and of course because of the Raspberry Pi. I'm not saying that it is the only language available on this device, but it's the most appreciated by the community. So yes, I would start again with Python if I had to.
Same for me.
Are there any other aspects of the project that you'd like to talk about, or any other topics that you think we should discuss?
Yes, maybe I can discuss about the near future with a new version which should be released this next weekend, and that will bring some new capabilities like I said, MQTT signal and neuron. So Kalliope will be able to interact with other IoT projects like Home Assistant. Support of community signals with community community neurons. So the community can work on stuff that wake up Kalliope, like communication protocol receiver, like a signal for the LoRa protocol or Zigbee. We have also added memory, so Kalliope can store variables during the execution of a synapse in order to be used later by another synapse. Another nice stuff is a neuro timer, so you can run delegated tasks. You can ask Kalliope to remind you to stop your tea in 3 minutes. And we made an Android application that is already available, and we hope we can release it on the Apple Store soon.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I thought was very interesting when I first came across the project, is the fact that you do have the Android and the web applications available for being able to interface with Kalliope, so that even if you're not necessarily in the same room, you can still benefit from the capabilities of it for automation or just performing various tasks.
Yeah. Through the application, you can already do that, and we plan to add something like a community client-server architecture. So you can have one core Kalliope installed somewhere and a multiple client in a multiple room.
Yeah, multiple speaker all over your home or your house, and so you can talk to Kalliope everywhere in your home. So yeah, we also plan to add some feature on the Android app, like geolocalization, and so you could start Kalliope from depending the position you have on the map or things like that. So yeah, we have a lot of ideas. You are one of the users. You said you tried Kalliope. What did you think about the project, and or did you try it, and do you still use it at home, for example, or something like that?
Yeah, so I've started using it a little bit. So far, I've gotten it to the point where it's installed. I'm using it as a way to introduce my 7-year-old son to programming, trying to get him involved in doing some Python development. So we worked together on getting it set up on a Raspberry Pi, which for the most part was fairly straightforward. There were a few things that I missed from the documentation, but I work as a systems administrator for my day job, so I was able to figure it out fairly readily. Once I have a few spare moments, I'm going to go through and clean up the bash history so that I can just write out an install script for the Raspberry and distribution. But the project itself is definitely interesting. I like the fact that it's modular and has the ability to chain the different modules together. And I also thought it was interesting that there's I forget the specific plugin, but it allows you to chain the inputs and outputs of multiple neurons together so that you can potentially create some sort of a conversational interface for Kalliope, where if it, for instance, doesn't hear you correctly, it will ask you for clarification, or if you ask a question and then it provides an output, you can then provide an additional input, and it will be able to maintain the context so that you can sort of build up a chain of reactions.
With a neurotransmitter, yeah.
Yeah, you can link all neurons together.
So all those things are definitely very interesting.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, great. 7 years old. So young for coding. Great. Okay, I think, yes, the design evolves every day. Actually, I'm currently refactoring something to provide flexibility to the user. And what about technology? We are a huge fan of Ansible project. I use it every day at work, and the concept of providing a framework where the user do not have to code, but only describe what he wants. It is exactly what we wanted for Kalliope, an abstraction of code execution. So we have maybe a little bit did a copy of Ansible for that. and it was the target. And so installation of community stuff is based on Ansible library. So user made something like a neuron and create what we call the DNA file, and inside it's a YAML description that is handled by Ansible. And after that, what can I say about the technology inside Kalliope? That's it. We use a lot of library. It's not a big project about that. We don't code very stuff. We just did a big wrapper of a lot of library.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about the Python ecosystem is that because there are so many different uses of the Python language across a number of different industries, there are so many different things you can pull from, and you just need to worry about writing the glue and the business logic to tie it all together rather than being required to build everything from the ground up.
Yes, exactly. The difficulty for us now is to provide something stable, and the last Ansible version broke everything in Kalliope, so if you install Kalliope right now, it will not work because of a new version of libraries.
Yeah, we need to work a bit more on consistency. But maybe, we can talk a bit more about the community, because we talk about the design aspect of Kalliope, but we also focused a lot on community, and we wanted to bring a really big open source community. So that's why you can, if you want to contribute to Kalliope, you can still do it on your own GitHub project, for example, GitHub page, and you can still host all your code, and you can manage your own code, your own neuron, your own signal if you want, and still the community, the users will still be able to install it using Kalliope with Kalliope install and pointing the link of the GitHub project on GitHub. So we really focus on the community, and we want people to contribute and to increase, because we really believe that it's this project, if people are interested in and contribute, it can be like providing a lot of ideas and providing a lot of functionalities, interesting functionalities and plugins and TTS, STT, everything. So we'll also really focus on the community and sharing brain and neurons and everything. So and you can control and manage everything from the Kalliope CLI and drive everything, install a neuron or remove it. So it's also
we are glad to have this community, because they made a lot of neurons and STT wrapper or TTS wrapper, and they also test a new version before we release it. So it's important for us. The community is a really important part of the Kalliope project. I would recommend to a new user to go on the website and see brain examples, synapse examples, and maybe code their own neuron to share it to the community.
So for anybody who wants to follow what you guys are up to and get in touch and maybe ask questions about Kalliope or any of the other projects you're involved in, then I'll have you add your preferred contact information into the show notes. And so with that, I'll move us to the picks. And this week, I'm going to be picking the Kiwi Crate service, which is a subscription service where every month they'll send you a box with a few different projects for your kids to be able to learn and explore different concepts. So, for instance, last month we got one where it was projects to look at UV light and what it is and how you can use it to make things glow and look interesting, and just sort of diving into that area. And then most recently it was a secret agent kit where it was talking about different kinds of ciphers and being able to pass coded messages and things like that. So it was just an interesting way to get kids involved in learning new and interesting things, and it's presented well, and it's also fairly affordable. So it's interesting thing to keep your kids learning on a monthly basis and have them excited about it. And so with that, I'll pass it to you, Nicolas. Do you have any picks for us this week?
Currently, I try to build a case for Kalliope because actually I don't use it in production at my home, so keep the secret. But soon it will be fixed because I just bought I don't remember the name. It's the Re speaker. It seems to be the best speaker you can buy online right now. And I tried it, and it's really good stuff. You can use it in a room like at 20 meters of distance of range. And so, yes, my next target is to have a real Kalliope production at my home.
All right. Do you have any picks for us this week, Thibaud?
We were talking with Nicolas about refactoring some part of Kalliope, and we were very interested in libraries. We have to still dig in, but we are really interested in reactive extension, managing reactive streams in Python. So I would recommend to have a look on it. And yeah, I think we will add it maybe soon, maybe later in Kalliope.
And we have to release a new version of Kalliope this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, ReactiveX is definitely an interesting framework, and it seems like it would be a really good fit for something like Kalliope, where you're trying to chain together a bunch of different neurons to perform a sequence of actions. I actually interviewed one of the maintainers of that a while back on the show, so I'll add a link to that to the show notes as well.
Yeah, because now we are facing some issues with managing asynchronous stream with Kalliope when we have delayed neurons and we have to manage neurotransmitters, etc. So yeah, maybe we will have to think about it, and I feel like a reactive stream could be a good solution to manage that.
Great. Well, I appreciate the both of you taking time out of your day to join me and talk to me about the work you're doing with Kalliope. It's definitely an interesting project and one that I plan to do some more tinkering with and continue working on. So thank you both for your time and for your efforts in building Kalliope and turning it into what it is today.
Thanks to you.
Thanks to you, Tobias, for inviting us, and sorry for English.
Not a problem. It was wonderful.